So this weekend we're away in Norfolk for a long weekend. So we had a look at what parkruns were available and we decided to hop over the border to Suffolk and do the Thornham Walks parkrun, which is 3 laps around some beautiful woods. So currently I'm in the middle of Abingdon marathon training, and this weekend I wanted a tempo run. So this was an ideal opportunity to give myself just that. I also looked at, or I should say John looked at, what the female course record was for the female 60, and he decided that it was doable for me. However, I never really know whether it's doable until I actually get started and see what my legs feel like, especially when I'm marathon training.
So Thornham Walks parkrun, a new one to us. This was their event number 101. They had a slightly higher attendance than normal. Usually they're around 100 runners, but this weekend, it being bank holiday weekend, I think there were 173 finishers. The record that Dawn had to beat stood at 24 minutes and 7 seconds, which I worked out to be about 7:47 pace per mile. So we're off on Thornham Walks parkrun, event number 101. Now you can see it's quite a narrow start. In fact, all the way around, paths are quite narrow. So yeah, between 100 and 200 is okay for this parkrun. In fact, on their website, they do ask people to keep left at all times unless overtaking, which is really good.
Yes, and from what I saw, everybody respected that.
So Thornham Woods parkrun, let's deal with the logistics. There is ample car parking, only about a 100-yard walk from the start and finish area. You do need to bring £2 in cash to put into an honesty box to pay for your parking.
There's also a cafe and compostable toilets.
The only other parkrun I think I've come across with compostable toilets was Rushcliffe in Nottinghamshire, but if anybody else knows of compostable toilets at parkruns, then please let us know in the comments below.
There's also a large children's play area, which makes it ideal for bringing your children, so families are more than welcome.
And with it being a 3-lap course, families can cheer on their loved one thrice.
As I said earlier, I'm in the middle of marathon training and I was needing to do a tempo run for this weekend, so that was what I was aiming to do. However, I don't actually time myself at doing that tempo run. I set off and I run to feel. So whatever feels like a tempo pace is what I will run. So when I was warming up, I felt a little bit weak and I thought I may run a little bit slow today. However, when I set off, I had a totally different feeling and my legs actually felt quite strong. So I just kept pushing a little bit and seeing how they felt as I just upped it slightly in that first couple of kilometres.
Now I'm monitoring the positions. I know Dawn is in second female position. The first female is maybe 60 to 70 yards ahead. She's a young lady and she's a remarkably good runner, as we'll see during the course of this parkrun.
I saw her set off too, and in my mind I thought, how lovely, there's a young girl in front, we've got the young and then you've got me, the old. But I'm still out here doing it, and like her, I'm giving it my best.
Now, we'd read beforehand that this course was Woodland Trails, but actually so far we've got this bouncy type surface. It's very similar to the Transpennine Trail near where we live. I think I read it was made from over 5,000 recycled tyres. So there we go, recycling in the woods and a very firm and runnable surface for us at this point. Just to the left there is a walled garden. This opens a little bit later while we're stopping if that is your area of interest. So it's a lovely run through nature, through curated nature and more natural nature, if that's the thing.
So back to my run, and this got a conversation going between John and myself. If you look closely at my right leg, you will see that it flicks out, and this is because I have a mild leg length discrepancy. Now, I've had this looked at in the past and I've been told that it's nothing really to worry about. However, if I get really sloppy with my running or tired, I find that that leg will catch the ground, and I've actually fallen over on several occasions. Now, I have had some training in the past to try and get myself to run more efficiently, but whatever I try, that leg always flicks out. It never corrects itself. But there are ways that we can help ourselves to run more efficiently.
And running efficiently is what's needed, because you'll have noticed we've come off the former tyre surface and we're now into the woodland. Totally appropriate to wear road shoes at this time of year. We've had a glorious summer in England and it's made the ground very firm and dry, but I would imagine if you came at other times of year, well, bring your trail shoes just in case. So yes, good running form. There are three elements you can really look at. One is the athlete's head held high. Dawn is looking well in front of her. That's really good. Secondly, are the athlete's arms swinging sort of front to back, what we call socket to pocket? Dawn does have a tendency to swing her arms across her a little bit. I often say when we're running, drop those shoulders. And the third element is, are we cycling nicely with our feet? Are our legs coming back and giving us that propulsion forward that we need?
So yes, as John says, my arms have a tendency to cross the midsection. However, when I am actually focused, I try to tell myself to let those arms swing like a pendulum. Now that's what I was always taught. So what you should feel like is that you're holding a crisp between your thumb and your forefinger really lightly, and you don't want that crisp to crack. And that you are swinging your arms or from the shoulders like a pendulum, like I said, and they are just sweeping past your hips. Now I try to do that occasionally, but I do think when we are working hard, most of us actually forget how to do this, or we forget to do it. If you were brought up as a track runner, or you've been taught as a young child how to run, I think it becomes more natural than if you're an adult who starts running in later life and you're not taught how to run efficiently.
Yeah, it's funny, the sport of running, isn't it? It's the one sport that most people take up with absolutely no practice or training in technique. I used to play a lot of cricket, and there's a huge emphasis in that game on batting, bowling and fielding techniques, and I guess it's the same in several other sports too. But yeah, running is just assumed it's something we can do because it's something that's hardwired into us, but there are ways that can be coached to run more efficiently. Anyway, back to the parkrun. What a glorious morning to be alive. Oh, I nearly went over there. We're back from the trail surface back onto the tyre surface. So as you can see, I'd say it's maybe 60-40 on this tyre type surface as opposed to the trail on the loop. We're going to take you all the way round the first loop on a point of view, and then we're going to speed things up during the second and third loop so you can see how the course unfolds.
So yes, back to my run. I was running very strongly at this point. I was actually enjoying running through the woods. It was really quite good. The underfooting was pretty good at this point. As John said, we've had no rain and it was really firm. So although there was a few tree roots, there was nothing really to trouble me. And I actually do enjoy running through woods like this.
So we said Dawn's target pace to break that female 60 to 64 course record should be around 7:47 per mile. It was actually, for the first mile,
7:26, so very pleasing really, because I actually felt really comfortable and I was surprised to be so far inside the pace that John said I needed to run for the course record. I am actually starting to feel the marathon training kick in now. I've had a couple of 70-mile weeks, several 60-mile weeks, and yes, I think I'm getting that strong leg feeling.
And as you can see, in terms of course congestion with 173 runners on there, absolutely no issues at the minute, plenty of space to run in, and as you'll see as the parkrun unfolds, that remains the case. So Thornham Walks parkrun takes place on the Thornham estate. Thornham Walks itself comprises of 12 miles of permissive footpath. As well as that, there's the aforementioned cafe, there are artisan businesses, the walled garden we passed 3 times on the parkrun, fishing lakes, and event spaces where events take place regularly throughout the year. There are also rental properties if you feel like staying in the area.
So Saturday morning running through woods, what better way to spend it? Yes, it's a wonderful feeling. However, with heavy marathon legs, it's really difficult to get up to 5k pace. So yes, I then try to keep it at a nice good tempo effort, a true effort, and I use this as my second session of the week. Just taking care over the footbridge and finding my pace now. I'm feeling quite comfortable and quite strong actually. I really think my marathon legs are kicking in.
We've just completed 1 lap there. You have to go twice round again before you head into the final straight. There's a marshal there to direct you in the correct direction, so make sure you don't run short. Yes, using the 5k parkrun as a time trial. When parkrun was originally set up in 2004, all the events were actually called time trials, the idea being you went along, if not every Saturday, frequent Saturdays, to measure your progress and your speed. And that's how we frequently use these parkruns. Now obviously they take place on very varied different courses. Some you'll be able to run faster times than others depending on the terrain and any undulations in there, but this is absolutely perfect for a good strong time trial. You've got varied terrain underfoot, you've got twists and turns, so it's really good for practicing different running skills.
Absolutely. As you go through the woods, you come across a few obstacles. You might have tree roots, you have some sharp bends, so you have to sometimes hop onto one leg, you have to jump over a tree root. But these are all excellent skills. They actually help you with your balance, and I think this kind of course is fantastic if you're into cross country. It's a good cross country course, good training. So yeah, back to my run. I'm actually comfortably in second female position. I know I'm comfortably inside the female 60 course record. So I'm trying to practice some of those key skills for being an efficient runner. You might not look it, but I have dropped my shoulders. That's something John is constantly telling me to do.
No problem overtaking people here, there's always space to do so, and as you'll see in a little while when we start lapping people, there is no course congestion here either. Well, there wasn't this morning anyway.
So we've just come off the smooth surface and we're back into the woods. Now you can see from the surface below, although it is, well, it's technical in places, it's a really good surface actually. And on this occasion, because there's been no rain, it's been a really dry summer, you can actually pick up quite a bit of speed in the woods.
Yes, there's a few sections on this course where you can pick up a bit of momentum, and this is one of them. And still plenty of space for everybody to have a smooth run.
And there's me hopping over a tree root to ensure I do have a smooth run.
So as laps 2 and 3 here are identical to lap 1, we're going to speed through sections of it until we get to near the end of this parkrun. So Thornham Walks parkrun is the 7th different parkrun venue we've run at in Suffolk. Lovely county to visit, so many wonderful villages, picturesque towns, and yeah, a brilliant part of the country to enjoy a long weekend or even a holiday in. Just passing a folly on the left there, that's a remnant of a Victorian summer house that was restored in the year 2000, I believe, and now back into the woods.
So I'm still on pace, going through mile 2 in 7:22. So yes, that female 60 record is still on. However, we know parkruns don't recognise records and they don't keep these records available for us to see on the parkrun website. But you can find them on other third-party apps, and I know that myself and many other masters athletes love having a record to go for, so occasionally we look them up and we see what they are and we have a go at them. So yes, going for records you can enjoy parkrun any which way you want. Another metric that I like to use, and again many of the people I know who are in the masters categories like to use, is going for age grading. Now age grading is something that you can look at and measure yourself against, and you can measure it against other people. I often have quite a high age grading in these parkruns, but I do have to say parkrun is very outdated with their age gradings. They are using the 2006 standards, whereas we're now in 2025. So I do think, if I'm truthful, that we ladies of a certain age have it a little bit easier when it's compared against our male counterparts.
Yeah, I think the reason why parkrun persists with the old standards is for consistency and continuity over time. So if you're 55 years old and run, say, 19 minutes on a particular course, you will get the same age grading if you have a friend who was 55 maybe 10 years ago and ran 90 minutes on a particular course. So it doesn't move in line with the changes in global age grading, it sticks with internal consistency, which is absolutely fine by me. Well into lap 3 by now, starting to have a few issues with the Insta camera on my head. If you want to see what it looks like falling to earth in slow-mo, here goes. Quite a psychedelic effect, I think. But we don't take one camera into a parkrun, we take 2. I've now got this GoPro so we can capture the last 800 yards or so of this run, and we get some really good footage of Dawn from the front. So here I am running sort of low 7-minute miling, looking behind me, trying to keep the camera steady and not falling over myself.
Yes, we talked about running skills, and there you are showing some excellent ones, John, especially for a man who says he doesn't like running off-road.
Yes, I've had a camera fall to the ground. I'm not going to replicate it by falling to the ground myself. So yeah, these last few 100 yards of the parkrun, we reflect on what a wonderful thing it is. We read in the press earlier in the week about a 97-year-old lady who would become the first parkrunner to achieve the 250 parkrun milestone. Well done her. We've been reading a little bit about running as you get older and go through the various masters categories, and how taking part in something like parkrun as a runner, or indeed as a walker, as a volunteer, is so good for maintaining physiological, physical, psychological health as you move through the various age groups. So yes, parkrun has been a wonderful movement, from starting off as a time trial idea where people would turn up and try and set particular times and have a little bit of competition between each other on those times and those age grading. It's grown to be so much more. And we hope that parkrun does continue to incorporate all those wonderful elements from its inception as a time trial with the age grading and the statistics, through to being a whole mass movement where people take part. As we say, there's a young lady in front of Dawn. Well done her. She's actually going to break the age group record at this parkrun for junior woman 11 to 14, and we have Dawn here who's odds on at the minute to break the age group record at this parkrun for female 60 to 64. So from the young to the old, everybody in between, people using it as a time trial, people racing each other as friends, as club mates, and just everybody who volunteers and gets something out of being in this wonderful parkland on this fantastic August Saturday morning.
So now we turn to hymn 81 in our hymn books. And back to me, and there's my splits, a good solid pace with a little bit of a up-tempo at the end.
Now we end with a stats of a finish time of 22:53, 84% age grading, as we said, second female, and that female 60 course record taken by a clear 74 seconds. So we like our parkrun stats, and those are Dawn's today. It was great afterwards to talk to Run Director John, who watches our channel.
So this is John, and he is Run Director today at Thornham Walks parkrun. So thank you, John, for...
Right, no worries, good to see you here.
How long have you been directing here?
Well, we've been going 2 years now, so
Okay,
the event 101 today, so yeah, 2 years. So,
Great course,
yeah.
great atmosphere.
Great course, lovely venue, really well marshalled.
Thanks
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
So thanks for watching our visit to Thornham Walks parkrun. We hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please give it a like, and if you'd like to see where we turn up at future parkruns this year, next year and beyond, then please subscribe to the channel. So until next time, keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.